Welcome back to the LEC after G2 finally take down Team BDS, but it wasn't all that clean, was it, BrokenBlade? I mean, at times we were starting to talk in the green room, we were thinking, is this really going to be the BDS 2 wins, both against G2? Did that conversation happen at all, where you guys kind of, you know, halfway through that game, like, come on, boys, tying it up a little? Or with you on Gwen, you just knew you were going to be snipping in?
I mean, we did have a talk in the game that we should, like, you know, tidy up the game a bit, because it was a little dirty what we did in the early game, I would say. Silly mistakes. I died to a very obvious gank that we even talked about before. And I didn't watch, and then my laning was a bit rough early, and then Jankos had to put a lot of attention top lane to salvage, and they actually did play pretty well early game. I think their mid and late was really, really bad. I think that's how we got the advantages right. And I think there was this one really clutch engage from Jankos where he caught the Vedius on tier 2 top, where I got the shutdown, and then I was back in the game, and Gwen late game, it just bangs, right?
Well, at what point is late game Gwen? Is it the 2-item spike when you have the Rift and the Nashers, then you go side lane? Because you were taking side lane towers, you looked a little bit unmatched on the side lane. Is that the power of Gwen on 2 items?
I think the reason why I was unmatched, though, it was not because of Gwen. It was more so because I think Aggressivo, he used his TP very recklessly or like carelessly, because they only had 1 TP in the game. So if you use that well, right, and if you have a side laner who is strong inside, you can abuse it. But I would say Gwen really spikes. 2 items, level 13.
Yeah, slaps.
Banks.
Banks.
Yeah, I mean, we're just kind of making various noises as we see you take chunks out of people with your pair of scissors. It feels like I've only really seen you on Gwen since I've been at the LEC. I've only been here for 2 weeks, but it feels like you've been rocking a lot of Gwen. Is that something? Is that a decision you get to make? Is it is it BB saying, "All right, boys, lock her in," or is
lock her in,
or is it more of like it's a personal preference playing a part?
I mean, it's like a whole team thing, you know. If I'm down and the team is down, then we're all down, right? And we just play it. But there's obviously some times where people suggest me to pick something, and then I will listen and try it at least. But in this case, I mean, obviously Gwen is just very strong in the meta. So
genuine question: you had Kennen picked against you this time. You know, is there a logic to that? Can you understand the theory crafting as to why Kennen's good into Gwen and why that was going to cause you issues, or is it not necessarily easy to explain?
I mean, I think the matchup is very, very decent, I would say, for Kennen. I've seen a lot of people pick Kennen into Gwen before. Even last split, I think Odamna picked it against me, and they won with it. But I do think Kennen would most of the time like to be solo AP, which in this case is hard in the meta. So buying magic resist is just very valuable, and for Gwen, resistances are just very good. So if I can buy Mercs and it has high value, I will just ignore everyone. So which I did in late game.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. You need more Gwen, because you got the key player of the game. And your Gwen as well against Odo, when you were like diving him on the tier 3, was fantastic. It feels like you're just putting such a huge pressure point on the map when you get to that spike. Is there any champ that's like Gwen's kind of kryptonite in lane? We saw things like the Akali picked a couple, I don't know, it was last split or last year. Is there anything like Fiora? Is there anything that's actually challenging Gwen right now?
I mean, there might be some stuff which I don't want to say.
Hey.
I have a little spicy picks in the lab that might be pulled out, might not.
Just BB cooking up the science experiment.
Yeah, he's just got Scotch bonnets and Petri dishes. Just
I mean, I do think. I mean, there's a reason why it's picked so much. I think nowadays it also got like changed a bit her ult mechanic. And I think in late game, if she gets to late game, she will always be strong. If you can make her not go to late 2 items, then you can win the games more often.
Yeah.
But
a conversation we've been having, and I'm sure everyone is aware of it, is just how chaotic the standings are right now and how unpredictable everything is. Obviously, this was a compulsory win for you guys on your path to playoffs. But when we bring them up, I think it would be interesting to know your stance on it. I mean, you clearly have the front runners, Mad Lions. It was, you know, Rogue at the tippy top with an 8-win streak. Is there a real most threatening team in that list as we look down there? Is there a name that you guys quake in your boots more than for others?
I mean, not really for us. I mean, we're just playing, right? Like, we were actually starting off the split very well, and then we had like the 0-4 losing streak, and now we're just really focusing on winning every game, obviously, because the standings are so close. Every match is actually so important, and it makes it, in my opinion, very interesting to watch as well, like every game, because it's just exciting, you know, and for every player, not only for me, it also puts just more pressure on each game, right, to perform. and I like that feeling.
You like the pressure?
Yeah, I like it.
Okay.
Key to thrive under pressure. We saw it in the lower bracket playoffs room. We've got Mad Fnatic coming up, and I'd love to get your opinion on Fnatic specifically, because Mad, Nisqy changed the team, incredible roaming style, but Fnatic are sitting 7th towards 8th right now. They're struggling to even make the top 6. Is there anything that you look at Fnatic and you're like, that's the problem?
I mean, I think Fnatic is more of an emotional team when they're doing bad, and when they're doing good, I think they're just winning because they're good, if that makes sense. And I think right now they're in that emotional state where they need to fix some stuff. I think internally, I'm not sure, right? It's what it looks like from the outside.
Yeah.
But obviously they have strong players across the board. So I don't know why it's not working for them. You know?
It feels like they're a bit of a momentum-based team. I mean, you saw it in the spring playoffs. They're 2-0 up against Rogue. They get reverse swept. They look broken from game 1. They've on a bit of a loose streak right now, even in games that they have good early games. But then moving on to Mad Lions, Nisqy just came in, and the team was just unbelievable. Is it just because they're ahead of the meta right now? Is Nisqy just picked up this style that's just injected into the team, that's given life to them? Were the players always this good around the Mad Lions? Was Riku just not giving them the resources they needed?
I mean, I think Nisqy is just very experienced, right? Like, he's been in the team for so long, and I think he's the type of player who not only plays well, but also has a lot of criticism to his teammates always. He's very open-minded. He's also, like, he's a close friend of mine, so I know how he is as a person. And it makes sense that he's doing well on a team, you know? He talks a lot about the game. He has a strong voice in team fights, just leading the game. And I think that's what Mad Lions needed. So I think there's a reason why they're doing well.
Yeah, but I mean, to take away what many, you know, will hand the accolade of best mid EU, Humanoid is in that conversation. To lose that in place of someone like Nisqy is a...
It's crazy thing, isn't it? Because Humanoid was on Mad, Nisqy was on Fnatic. They've swapped places and the teams look very different. I mean, Humanoid, as much as he's putting up these incredible damage numbers, he's not really... I feel like he's dying a lot to ganks. We talked about it at the start of the show.
Yeah.
I think Our Dominates even said something like, even if you blow on him right now, he's probably going to fall over and die, right? There's so many people that can easily just walk towards mid and just die to all these useless ganks. Have you noticed some kind of like too much deaths?
Yeah, I mean, there's just, I think, change in playstyle between those two players, right? Obviously, I think one is more aggressive, the other tries to facilitate more stuff to his team. So I think it's just a change in playstyle.
Is there not a de facto kind of, you know, like a list of role responsibilities? You know, like in terms of a mid laner, are you not supposed to be that guy facilitating, roaming? You're in the middle of the map, you can go everywhere, you can be anywhere. Is that not something that you'd describe as a compulsory to a mid laner, or can there be different styles within a role?
I mean, I think there's obviously different styles. I think we have also seen it probably throughout all the years. I mean, it's a perfect example, right, that we had here earlier. Nisqy is the type of player who likes to not play for lane advantage, and he likes to use his lane to give other people advantages, which I think can work in some teams, which in this team it seems to be working, but in another team it might not be the greatest choice of playstyle, right?
Sure.
Yeah, I think he's completely right. If you just look at the champions that they played, the stark contrast between the champions that Humanoid and Nisqy play, because Nisqy is leaning towards things like, you know, the Taliyah and the Hylissang, whereas Humanoid's defaulting to things like the Corki and more kind of resource heavy. We saw things like the Vex, Azir. Feels like Mad have adopted the LPL playstyle and teams are following them. So we can see the list there. I mean, look at the amount of roaming champs Nisqy can play there, and look at the amount of kind of scaling or individual playmaking champions that Humanoid's played. I think it reflects on BrokenBlade's point really, really well.
That's really interesting. You get to see a lot of contrast between the two players there. And yeah, well, I mean, I guess And
I think it's just about time that, you know, Humanoid just plays more of a roaming style. I think he needs to really, like, the meta is so early in focus that he needs to actually adopt that style.
Okay, something to look out for sure. I mean, in terms of expectation setting for our final game, Fnatic against Mad, is there writing on the wall with our conversation? It feels like we're already kind of, you know, putting nails in Fnatic's coffin. Are we expecting the trend to continue? Have we seen any signs of life? I mean, what is there to really celebrate in this head-to-head? Is there something we can get hyped about? Is there something that I can dig my teeth into to start flying my Fnatic flag again?
I mean, the favorites are for me, as of right now, at least Mad Lions, unless Fnatic is completely changed the way of how they play the game, at least in the early game. I think if their bot lane is doing well, they usually are doing very good, right? Because I think their bot lane actually knows very well how to create a lead, work with that lead, and you know, play throughout the game with that. But if Mad Lions can, you know, shut that down, I think they already are in like
halfway there.
Yeah. So bot lane, so we've got to keep our eyes for Fnatic. Looks like they're... I mean, everyone was regarding Upset Taliyah as like the best bot lane in Europe just last split, right? When this Fnatic quote-unquote superstar roster was formed. But we're going to do picks and bans here. How much of the draft do you do in G2? Are you the kind of person where it's like, I'm the top laner, I'll tell you my top lane matchups? Or are you the kind of person who's like, oh, I can impact mid matchups, I can talk a little bit about jungle, what I need?
I mean, I always try to give my opinion when it comes to picks because I think some picks, they are better or worse with other picks in your team, right? So, as I mentioned earlier, Cannon, you would like to be more on the solo AP side. And then you say, okay, maybe you don't want Assassin with another damage source that's the same, right? Or stuff like that. I think it just depends. Sometimes, or some metas, I have more of a say, and some metas I don't. It just depends on like how simple the meta is for me. And I think right now the meta is actually quite simple, so that's very good. I think Dylan works really well with my picks.
So. I feel like when I look at top lane, you have like Gnar, Gwen, GP, and they're the three top laners you kind of lean towards most of the time. We've got some bans coming in here for the draft from Fnatic Mad Lions. A lot of OPs as well in the meta, you know, things like the Sylas, the Taliyah. Champs that people want to get their hands on. With the Sylas Poppy ban, is there any kind of guesses on first picks as to what Fnatic's leaning towards here?
I'm not sure actually. I mean, you could always go to the like the Nara, Gwen or GP first picks, right?
Yeah.
We've seen that so many times. I think that's something they could do. They could also pick if they had a talk maybe before. Maybe they can pick up the Taliyah, which was very good against them, I think. So we will see. I think.
That's the big question. Does Humanoid play Taliyah? And the answer is no. They're going to go for the Wukong with the Poppy ban. Could open up some kind of, you know, trundle for Elyoya, maybe something like the Lee Sin. We'll see what he opts into. Humanoid's kind of shaking his head there. He seems pretty happy. Do you think Fnatic will go to... Do you think Fnatic has adopted, or at least trying to kind of go to more of a roam-heavy style? Or do you think that the kind of quirky Aphelios is just something that suits them and that comforts what they need to stick to?
I'm not sure. I think this is not what they usually do with the Wukong first pick, right? I think Razork usually likes to play stuff like Viego, Trundle, and stuff like that. Sometimes you would see Lee Sin, but that they first pick Wukong like that is something that I think Medlines should be very happy with. They first picked Taliyah, right? Which Nisqy is very comfortable on as well.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure they're going to match jungle here.
I'm worried for Fnatic already, Machine. I'm already worried because you give Nisqy his #1 roaming mid. Gwen's already picked up. I feel like they have a top side to play for already. Fnatic need to find something in mid-jungle here, you have to expect, BrokenBlade? In mid-top, sorry.
Okay, they picked Ahri. I don't know if that's the answer.
This is a bit different. What's going on here?
Yeah, what is going on?
Jayce?
Jayce? What are your thoughts on Jayce?
I like the Jayce, actually. I think it's a good pick if you play it very well, right? I think it's a pick that you need to be very good at.
I thought Vex was a meme. It's not a meme?
No, it's not. The only worry is I have is then you have a Taliyah. Is the Taliyah going jungle and you're playing Vex mid? What's going on here? No, they're going to go Xin.
Pretty sure it was a BM hover.
BM, oh yeah, because Humanoid played it in
That's exactly what it was. Thank you for the translation.
A little bit of BM. So talk to me a little bit about Jayce, because we saw it in spring, I believe, a little bit. Then the durability patch came, it got nerfed a bit, but then it just kind of disappeared completely. What's your take on Jayce?
I mean, my take on Jayce is I think this patch is not very, very OP. I think it's not up there with Gwen or GP, just because, durability patch. I think Resolve Tree is very, very good against Jayce. Second Wind, which is also about to get nerfed next patch. It might bring Jayce back. I don't know. It used to be a matchup that was picked into Gwen. I don't think it's very losing nowadays than before.
Yeah.
But if Jayce can get his Eclipse before Gwen can get Riftmaker, I can see that Jayce actually just has pressure in lane. So if he gets to early game, I think it can be good. But I actually like the Vi answer. I think Jayce is very vulnerable to ganks, and Vi is very good at ganking, right?
It's one-dimensional, right? So are we looking at a Mad Lions draft where the Taliyah goes top, Vi wants to go top, and then this Jayce is just going to have a really rough time?
I think they only actually need to do it once. If they pull it off once, I think top side might be GG for Fnatic side.
Is that because you've delayed the Eclipse spike, so then Gwen can kind of match you on items, and then the 2-item spike comes in, side lanes one?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the threat in this matchup is that if Gwen can all-in you, you will win, right? And if they go top side, burn a flash, or she gets a good base, Jayce has to play defensive, and this is what Jayce really does not want to do, right? He does not want to play defensive. He does not want to farm minions with spells. He wants to only hit the enemy. But if he can't do that, which is possible in this game, that it happens,
Sivir picked up again.
More Sivir, yeah.
Yeah, more Sivir. We're seeing Sivir a lot in the LPL. Has risen a little bit in priority with all these AD carry bans. What's your real take on... Oh, Sivir Zilean. Okay, the hilly Zilean's out here. So this Jayce, when you play Jayce, do you need a bot lane or a side of the map that's kind of quote-unquote safe, where you can just put everything top to make sure that Jayce is safe, or is he fine just playing on his own?
I think there's multiple ways of what you can do with Jayce. I think in this draft, I don't know if Ahri Wukong can help Jayce a lot. Having a safe bot definitely helps to always put resources to Jayce, right? Jayce likes resources, obviously. But I think in this case, Sivir Zilean is not the strongest bot lane, so they will also need some resources at some point in this game. So we will see how that goes.
It does look like Fnatic are really rolling it back. I think a lot of those League of Legends characters, we've got Zilean, Sivir, Ahri, they were around, you know, back when Caedrel was still a glimmer in his father's eye.
Yeah, they were.
They were.
They all got changed a little bit. Ahri and Sivir got their reworks, but they were back in my days.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I was playing ARAMs with them at university. That's how...
yeah, Vi as well. Classic.
Vi, I know, right? We're really rolling it back.
Arcane buff on Mad Lion. So looking at both comps, what do you expect from both sides? Not maybe in resource terms, where they want to path, maybe what they want to play towards and how they shape in fights.
I mean, I do think, like Mad Lion's team comp, Vi wants to just clear as fast as possible, full clear probably. With pushing bot, I think Gwen should have push in this matchup.
Yeah.
Taliyah, Ahri, I'm not actually quite sure, but I'm pretty sure it's at least even. So I do think early game is favored for Mad Lions here if they played well.
Okay. And now we are going to be seeing the traditional rock, paper, scissors between the...
Mac 1.
Mac 1? Is that a sign of things to come? I mean, there's only one way to find out, and that is, of course, jumping into game. Players are getting ready, locked, and loaded before we load on into the Rift. So you've seen it all. We've already set your expectations as Mad Lions. You're not like changing the entire script after watching that draft.
I think even after draft, I'm even more for Mad Lions.
Ooh,
okay.
You favor Mad Lions draft then?
So significantly
I mean,
up
like
against the odds.
I think the answers are good. I think the way the draft was good. They got their picks they like.
Yeah.
So
it's win-win-win.
Scary Mad Lions, indeed.
There's still some Fnatic fans in the crowd.
Oh, is that a Caedrel? Oh.
What is it?
Did you say Caedrel in shots?
Was that Caedrel?
Yeah, I think so.
Do you remember when they taught us in school, like we were really going to have to learn handwriting? Did you learn cursive and stuff like that at school? What was that about?
I don't know how to write like that anymore.
Like the book with all the 4 lines and everything. It was a whole...
Yeah, I remember that. And we had to join the letters as well together. And you had to do
and they convinced us, like, if we didn't do that, we would never get jobs.
Yeah, I know.
So now, look at us now.
Look at us now.
We're talking about video games
League
in
of
Legends.
Yeah.
Wow.
But one question I did have, when you said you favored the Mad Lions draft, I wanted to know, do you favor the Mad Lions draft specifically because it's Mad Lions? If that was any other team, would you be a bit on the fence? Or is it because they have the Taliyah, they have things like the Vi and the Gwen, they can play to where their win conditions are?
I think generally it's also just a winning draft, but I think also because it's Mad Lions, Nisqy has his champ, wants to roam, is very, very good at it. He lost his playstyle, so I think it's just a good draft for Mad Lions, like an even better draft for Mad Lions, right?
I have a very important question as well. We just saw Wunder play with the shoes off. Now in Euphoria, we're doing this poll. Pros who play with or without shoes.
Okay.
Are you a shoes kind of guy?
I'm a shoes kind of guy.
You leave them on while you're playing?
Really? Yeah. But you wear shoes in the house kind of guy as well?
No.
Oh.
So while you're scrimming, you don't wear shoes?
Yeah.
So when you're on stage, you do wear shoes?
Yeah.
Have you ever tried playing on stage without shoes?
No, I did not.
Because that could be like bringing, you know, your living room into the studio.
Yeah.
You could really...
But I do use like a footrest because I'm too small, right?
A footrest?
For good posture.
Yeah, good man.
I need it. But that's something I use, for example, also on stage.
But and you're allowed to bring out your footrest. You don't have like a gaming one with like RGB, LEDs.
No.
RGB footrest.
Yeah,
That would be pretty
I'm
cool.
just saying.
You just press on it and the colors change every time.
Yeah, we could maybe make it happen. I'm sure there's someone right
Get
now
an
writing this
RGB
down.
gaming
Someone's writing
chair.
this down. Yeah.
Footrest, mouse and keyboard.
Okay, what else are we missing?
Backlight,
Yes.
screen light,
Yeah.
PC.
What about the resistance arm for smooth moves? What's it called? Come on, compression.
Compression arm band thing.
Band.
Yeah. We're just
Arm
giving out
garment.
ideas non-stop here.
Yeah,
you can
we
make that an RGB as well.
Plug in some power. And speaking of you know, sponsors, actually it sounds like we have got an issue with a peripheral on stage, so we are just going to be a little bit delayed before we get into this one. It's because he didn't have the RGB wasn't running. He didn't have the special lights on his keyboard. Needs to fix that out. But it does sound like we are jumping in. Thank you so much, BrokenBlade, for giving us your time and your smile.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And your mullet.
And the mullet. Yeah, you should
Cheers.
consider it. But that sound means...
And we are in. We didn't get an intro, intro, so I'm going to intro us instead. A cut-off machine before he could say any more. He was giving up too many secrets. I am, of course, Oisin. I'm still joined by the absolutely illustrious Vedius.
That's a very kind title. Medic would always call me there, you know?
The Vedius.
No, he's like, there is Vedius. There he is.
There he is. There he is.
Oh, there I am. Hello. Yeah, don't worry, Machine. We've all been played off. It's happened to the best of us.
You're having too much fun.
But let's see who gets played off of this game. That was a great transition.
Fantastic. Seamless,
looks
honestly.
Looks like a standard line of scrimmage for the time being. Will we see the fabled red buff ward? It's a legendary ward. Mad Lions have done it literally every game. They typically are on the blue side, though. But this time they're on the red. Here we go. Here we go. Is this it? Ooh, Kaiser's hesitant.
Come on, Kaiser. Come on.
He's hesitant. He's afraid.
Yeah, well, I mean, Unforgiven's got to be afraid in a second. He's got two Fnatic members running at him right now as Nisqy starts to give a little bit of support. And where is it? Where is it? Is the ward? There it is. The legendary reward of the ward. So you can see that was a lot invested for Mad to try and make that one work. But
it's a staple. Works. They will do it every single game. The red buff ward to gain information on where the jungler is so that Elyoya knows what he's doing. And what's great is we talk about Nisqy every single Mad Lions game, but that right there is a prime example of what Nisqy does literally every game. He sees his health bar as another resource that he doesn't need. He is happily willing to trade it in order to basically...
Very LPL of him.
Yeah, he's basically willing to trade it whatever to do whatever it is that he wants to do. And so in that situation, you saw that I need this ward. I'm going to lose health to get it. I don't care. And right now, he's getting the push against the Ahri. Now, typically, this is fine against an Ahri because Ahri doesn't have the strongest wave clear early on. But he's quite happy to just trade his health bar. He's running the corrupting pots. He also runs the biscuits. He runs as much sustain as he can during the laning phase because he's saying, I'm willing to trade my health. And already look at him moving into the fog of war immediately because he's looking to get a little bit of information, maybe threaten a ward placement, and basically just make Fnatic as uncomfortable as possible. And the question is, what will Elyoya do with it? Often, when he gets level 3, he'll actually look for an early invade, but of course, both junglers starting on the same side of the map means that he's not going to look for any type of invade, so Nisqy's just going to keep the push in as Elyoya paths up towards his red buff. The question is, will he now look for a gank towards top lane? Because we did see Wunder actually stacking a wave underneath that tower, which of course does leave him vulnerable to an early gank.
Yeah, and of course the Jayce, which hasn't been seen for a little while now, has received a couple of different nerfs, and of course just the way the game has played out, you do need that little bit of safety in the top side. So as I mentioned on the desk with BrokenBlade and Caedrel, if you don't get that early spike on the Eclipse, you're not quite stacking up to put pressure on the Gwen. The matchup does very quickly go against you, as we can see. Wunder trying to get this crash down as quick as he possibly can, and Armut just soaking in all the delights of it right as the moment, because he knows he's got Elyoya in the back pocket. He knows he's going to have that Vi should anything go a little bit awry.
Meanwhile, down towards the bot side of the map, we can see that it is Mad Lions with the push. They've been doing a pretty good job here in this matchup. Typically, Sivir, along with a range support, should be able to get the push in this wave. Ooh, just a bit of trading back and forth. Overall, favorable trade for Fnatic. Walk away with the health advantage there. But yeah, we're just going to see this constant back and forth. Zilean is considered a pretty good pick into the Rakan. Well, I forgot his name for a second there.
How could you? That's the medic champion.
It is true.
It is
that's why he always remembers. He says the name,
say,
you know what I mean? It's never my job. It's always he always says Rakan. But typically Zilean's good because it's much easier for him to like set up that bomb placement, you know, because Rakan is quite what's the word, telegraphed in terms of his approach and his attack, and you can either go forward or backwards, and you typically know where he's going to go. That's a good stun.
They trade it back there with a boomerang blade, so Mad Lions trying to put down the hurt down here. I will say the Zilean, again, we saw it in the last game, very, very squishy as well, so something that you have to kind of deal with. But Razork, he's looking to make something happen along this bot side. There is a good ward, though, in the Tri-Brush, so he should be spotted out as soon as they go for this ward. Yeah, they're going to try and back themselves away. Kaiser and Unforgiven, though. Hylissang and Upset recognize they know that something's been spotted, so they just try and hard force it. It's not going to work. And it's funny as well, because we talk about the Mad Lions early game and how good they are. I'm going to stop myself as Wunder tries to get a decent trade in, a level up advantage just before the level 6. But the early game for Mad, like you said, getting that early vision, knowing where Elyoya needs to be in order to influence the best of the map, it has led them to be kind of like the best early game team objectively in the league. As I'm going to see both top laners going in as Wunder, 2 more auto attacks, flashes away, and keeps his life. Armut showing that this is not exactly as counterable matchup as you might have thought.
Armut playing it very well, and I know you want to keep talking about the early game, but we might not get the opportunities. I see Kaiser once again hovering around mid lane. I think he's just there primarily to offer some protection. A good ward from Humanoid, recognizing that jungler's out on the map. He's at Some serious risk right now, but support's also roaming towards the mid lane. Nisqy, ooh, just
He hasn't
spotted out
spotted
there.
anyone yet, though. And apart from Nisqy trying to get his back off, he actually hasn't seen Kaiser or Elyoya roaming up. They have no idea that this is going on. Wunder, though, he senses something. He's got a spidey sense, but it's not that good. He gets knocked up, gets himself killed off, and that is a first blood to Mad Lions.
Yes, it certainly is. Very well played, and now you should bring up the early game graphic, because this is what Mad Lions find so much success with doing. Like, they're not quite as strong as XL in some departments, but you look at that first tower percentage, 73% of the time. They find themselves with massive early game gold leads at 14 minutes, and they get a ridiculous number of kills within the early game. This team is very effective at building early leads. Forgiven, he's going to be forced to flash there. The Ignite will take him to low, but he should be able to get away to safety. But this is something that they'll often do. It is that Elyoya plus Kaiser duo, in particular, just pairing up. And typically, they'll work with Nisqy to try and attack a side lane. Humanoid's doing a good job in this 1v1 of pressuring and punishing Nisqy for trying to aggressively get that prio in lane. But they're able to find a successful plan. A lot of that needs to be given credit to Armut, a player that was heavily criticized last split. But honestly, once he gets those champions that he's very comfortable on, he looks very good. And he was the one that burned Wunder's flash. He's the one that set them up for that play. And he was the benefactor of that first blood. So huge props to him. Mad Lions, though, don't find themselves with a significant gold lead for the time being.
No, they do not. Wunder, he's going to need to start making moves with this Jayce. Again, they talked about it so much on the analyst desk that, you know, this is a pick that needs to snowball, that needs to stay ahead in the side lane in order to be relevant, because as we saw with G2 in the last game, Gwen will just scale. Gwen will just become a monster upon themselves. And right now, Wunder, he's already starting to struggle a little bit. The gold going over to literally the perfect person in that Gwen makes this lane already a little bit more hostile.
It does. I'm worried for Jayce right now.
Like a mother who doesn't know where their child is, you're worried.
Yes, I certainly am. I really want him to call right now. Let me know that he's safe. But I don't think he can do that. Razork getting closer and closer to level 6. Not quite there just yet. It's the supports. The constant battle for vision.
It's Mortal Kombat. It's an age-old tradition. Honored throughout all regions.
Yeah, it's the one thing, like, Riot has changed the game many times.
Oh, yeah.
In the vast number of seasons that we have had. The one thing that has never changed, supports killing each other over wards.
I mean, it's, again, that health bar thing you're talking about. It's like it's a resource to make sure that your vision is maintained. But, oh, good flick back there onto Razork. And keeps himself healthy as he goes back over the wall. Does have the Cyclone available, as Humanoid doesn't have a huge amount of mana. That could have been a bit risky there as Kaiser makes himself known in that top side. Wunder, though, looking to try and do the same in the top lane. But Armut, I think he's quite comfortable, to be perfectly honest. That one gank has kind of just changed the whole dynamic of this top side.
I will say that Armut isn't grossly ahead just yet. That's just going to help accelerate him. But this fight could.
Oh, this fight definitely could. We will see them fully engage here onto Hylissang, who doesn't have his ultimate, so he's not got no chrono shift. There's the needlework trying to go right through the hearts of everyone on Fnatic as Mad Lions pick themselves up their second kill, maybe looking for a third. Elyoya is fully committed. There's a Super Mega Death Rocket, not really going to do anything here. As Upset there. This is an extended fight right now as Kaiser's caught between a rock and a hard place, and he goes down 2 for 1 in the straight so far. But look at Fnatic trying to see if they can coerce them, move them around. These are low health bars onto the Gwen. If you lose the Gwen, this is all of a sudden a 3v2. It's a 3v1. Triple kill coming in for Humanoid. And Fnatic, it looks so bad, but they turned it right back round.
Ends up being a favorable fight for Fnatic as Upset joins the battle. And he was the crucial decider that allowed Fnatic to come out on top because they had that numbers advantage, because Upset was able to offer this heal. Notice that he got 3 assists in that fight, but it was Humanoid that was able to claim the kills. Very well played fight from Fnatic, and they should be able to convert this into a Herald.
I mean, we'll see now. We can see the rest of Mad Lions trying to roam themselves back onto the map, but Kaiser, without a flash and without a quickness, is not that threatening of a Rakan. He is starting to posture around, but no one else really did support him, and that is Riftel going on the other side of Fnatic. So, the mid lane, the early game kings of Mad Lions kind of being brought toe-to-toe.
It certainly was. So let's have a look at this. You'll notice that Elyoya is level 6, and he decides, let's commit onto Hylissang while he's only level 5. Gets the 2-man knockup. Humanoid then comes in from over the wall, lands a good charm, but the damage is good from the Mad Lions side. Bit of poke comes out from Wunder, but things still looking favorable. This is where Mad overcommit. look at the mid lane. You'll notice that Sivir has made the rotation all the way from bot over to mid and now joins the fight and actually cuts off the escape route of the Mad Lions. Humanoid then feels confident that he can jump over the wall to assist Upset, and now you realize the position that you're in if you're the Mad Lions. Your health bars look pretty good, but as you're trying to collapse onto one side, you get chased down by the other, and Armut was just kind of, he didn't do anything, you know? He was just running and being hit while running, and it was just super awkward for him. But if Upset hasn't arrived, that would have been a massive early game fight in favor of Mad Lions. So really, Upset came up clutch in that little skirmish.
Really did, and of course the biggest benefactor was Humanoid, sitting with a 1,200 gold lead in the mid lane, up to about 4.5k himself. So very much on the way towards that, what you would imagine is an Everfrost as a first item. And you start to get these pick opportunities available to yourself as this Ahri. The earlier you get access to that, the more it can see. I will say that Elyoya's gone for that first item Chainsword right now, so he's looking to be just basically a stat stick. He's looking to try and use that VoD power spike to just get himself into positions where he can just fight.
Yeah, I think it's a super cost-efficient item. It's like pretty cheap for the stats that it gives you, and as a first item, like it's so easy to get it very early because it's such a cheap item and it gives such great stats as well that I've been seeing it a lot more often on junglers as well. I think there's something that Dominate was also tweeting about not that long ago, so shout out to him. Oh. Now we see the posturing around the dragon. Kaiser takes a bit of damage.
There's a full engage coming in. They're going to have the Sivir ult come in as well. Elyoya does flash away. Humanoid looking to try and get over the wall. The charm does not land, and he gets fully engaged upon. Flick back as well, and he's got nowhere else to go. He does get himself into the resurrection, but a 3-man knockup means 2 kills going over to Unforgiven. He's going to be able to pick up a third. A triple to the Jinx as Nisqy finishes off the Ahri. That was clean from Mad Lions.
What a fantastic play from Kaiser. The 3-man knockup into the ultimate, into the damage. It all just came together for Mad. What looked like a dangerous skirmish early on is very quickly rectified as Mad Lions find themselves with a 3k gold lead.
Fantastic move back from Mad Lions. And again, they're undeterred. We can look at the start of this one here because again, look, it's Fnatic posturing into them after Mad Lions engage. Kind of doesn't go anywhere.
It doesn't really make sense why these teams are even fighting here. There's no real objective to play over, but then this is when Fnatic sees an opportunity. Over the wall, the quick ultimate from Elyoya into the stun onto Humanoid, and Fnatic's trying to disengage, but Kaiser sees it as an opportunity to get the all-in. It's a 3-man knockup, into 3-man Q, into 3-man ulti. Unforgiven flashes over the wall. They say, Nisqy, you got that? And he's like, yeah, I'm good. He's able to clean up the kill, gets the shutdown on the backside as well, and that's 2 of your big carries being funneled a lot of money.
I mean, 3-3-3 into a triple kill right there. Unforgiven.
Kraken Slayer
I
as
was
well.
gonna say, Kraken Slayer just before the 13-minute mark is a bit disgusting onto a Jinx. Because again, Jinx is one of those champions that after the patch came in, you know, she got a couple of different things, and her early game wasn't as strong, wasn't as safe, but once she hits level 9, which is right now, she's effectively the exact same champion that she was. So not only is she level 9, she's also got herself that first item spike. So really difficult to see how Fnatic can kind of fight around this, but they're gonna have to because they got the Rift Tile down in mid, they get themselves a couple of plates, and there's still 2 minutes until the next dragon, but they gotta try and recenter themselves.
They certainly do. I think that it's a weird one for Fnatic because a lot of what the Analyst was talking about was enabling Wunder on the top side of the map, this Eclipse in particular. It's one of those things where when you're a lethality champion, you ideally want to be slightly ahead of your opposition because especially when you get that first item spike, it gives you so much additional damage that you ideally want to play around, but Armut and Wunder have just been left on an island. And when you think about Fnatic this split, a lot of their success in the first half of the split was actually Razork overcommitting his resources top when Wunder was on things like Gragas. But due to these skirmishes not really going in the favor of Fnatic, Mad find themselves accelerating the rate at which they're scaling. And that's the big thing for this team. Jinx with her range and her damage. Gwen in a side lane is really going to be unmatched. And while Fnatic do still have the I'm Sivir, I'm really good in late game team fights, that's only so good, especially when Mad also have I'm Jinx, I'm also really good in late game team fights.
It's kind of how it's going now. Elyoya will get slowed down. Not quite stunned up there by the time bombs, so just backs himself away. 50 seconds till the dragon spawns. We do have a stopwatch here for Nisqy as they try and just posture themselves around this Drake.
No TPs available for either top laners, so who's going to move first? It looks like that Fnatic are going to pull the trigger.
Flash in to get the slow, to get the double bomb down. We can see them getting the resurrection as well. You've got no summoners here onto the Jinx, but they already taken them out. That's going to be a huge turnaround here as Nisqy's a little bit late to the party, and that's 2 kills back to Fnatic. They may look for some more as they keep pushing forward with the Sivir ultimate, but they got the 2 picks they wanted.
Really good play from Fnatic. They knew that Unforgiven had no flash, and they just full-on committed. Humanoid was a little late, but it didn't matter. Upset, with his good positioning there, was able to dish out enough damage to allow Fnatic to get 2 kills, and Mad Lions couldn't get anything in return.
I mean, we talked about this top lane so much. It was the pinnacle of everything that could go in and out. But right now, it's about the bot lane. It's about these bot lane duos going head to head.
It certainly is. And Razork in particular, just hovering behind them. The ultimate comes out from Upset. They flash on top of Forgiven, knowing that he doesn't have any summoner spells. The ultimate comes in from Hylissang as well to keep himself alive and get that resurrect. And then you can see the damage coming through from Upset and Razork. Good spell shield as well to stop Elyoya, locking him down in place. Upset, he just played that fight extremely well. And really, the rest of Fnatic were just there to follow up. Very well played pick. And Fnatic just proving that they're not down and out just yet.
Not down and out just yet. They will stop the dragon stacking nice and early. So that's going to be 1 apiece in that objective market. But it does mean a trade on the other side of the map. Mad Lion saying, look, we can't fight around this dragon, but we can sure as hell take Shelly. Hopefully she got to do her favorite thing in the world, which is boop her head against some turrets. But we'll have to wait and see, because again, the second tower, or second Rift Herald, not as immediately effective as the first.
And have a look at what's happening on the map right now. Armut is securing that top tier 1, but Nisqy doesn't have a lane to go to. Unforgiven was actually given the resources in mid lane. So what does he do? He just goes and clears jungle camps. And I think, again, it's a really great representation of what Nisqy does for his team. He's very willing to sacrifice in order to give other carries on the team those resources, and like, you know what, you can have the next 2 midways, I'll take Wolves, I'll take Gromp, it's totally fine. And now he's grouping up with his team. He didn't want to lose too much distance. Now they're looking for an opportunity. Kaiser over the wall. The fog of war belongs to Mad Lions.
It does indeed, as Humanoid gets caught out. The chains do not land, though, as they try to look and try and burn him down. But already you can see the power of the Zilean with that ultimate kind of coming in clutch, and they can turn it back onto them. Mad Lions, who may have gone a little bit too far forward, and Fnatic punished them for trying to get the pick.
Wow, Humanoid's reactions there were insane. The ultimate comes out from Elyoya, and he has enough time to dash away from both the knockback from Nisqy and the traps from Unforgiven, buying him a little bit of space to allow Hylissang to get the ultimate off, and then he could flash away to safety to allow Razork to then come into the fight. Just look at the reaction speed here from Humanoid, as he has no vision. Can we actually see what Humanoid sees right now? Because he's just walking into fog of war. He has no information, and immediately this stun is going to come out, and look, he manages to dash away from both the traps and the knockback to create enough space where he can then flash away and then create some distance. Beautifully played by Humanoid.
Really well played. Hylissang, though, he's in a lot of trouble. You just used your ultimate, Hilly, and you are being taken out. And this is a bit of a problem now for Wunder. He's got himself TP'd upon on the top side. Actually, he wasn't even TP'd upon. That was just Armut just being behind him. And they're going to be able to knock him down as well. 2 quick picks as Mad Lions not willing to let the momentum go.
This has got to feel a little bit more LPL for you, am I right? Yeah. Action across the board. 9-6 is the kills. And Mad Lions will look to secure themselves another tower. Very quickly, the momentum switching back in their favor.
Here we go, crowd. Here we go. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Humanoid now on the flank.
Yeah, we're going to look for it now. Humanoid, got to keep the momentum going. So it's very difficult, Mad. We'll have full summoners on Unforgiven and nearly have the flash on Kaiser. So they can't quite get the exact timing on that. So it looks like it's just going to be a push in the mid lane. Armut, though, will try dash away. He gets stunned by the Everfrost. And now he's down to about half HP. You've got that immunity up, but now that's down. So you can see now Upset taking this as an opportunity. And this is tit for tat, push for pull. This is both teams really pushing what they can do on the map when they're on the map.
Yeah, very aware of what they can and cannot do given who is present on the minimap right now. That was just a long sequence of plays, and let's go back to see where it all started. Hylissang just getting a bit of vision down. Nisqy isolated on the top side of the map. And this is just Hilly getting a little too aggressive, and he ends up getting punished for it. Nisqy's like, hey, this guy doesn't have flash, right? You know what the comms are. He's like, does he have flash? Does he have flash? Nope, he doesn't. And then they immediately get into the action. You can see on your pip as well, a little bit of trading happening back and forth, but Wunder, he then gets chased down with a good knockup coming out from Kaiser. He ends up losing his life, and this results in a tier 1 in the top lane, a tier 2 in the mid lane, 3 towers going down in favor of Mad, and now they've got so much map control.
They really do. They got themselves a gold lead as well. It's not a huge amount. It's nothing to be, you know, shaken in front of other people as if you're better than them, but it is still significant. You can see, apart from the jungle, it's basically gold leads across the board, as we do see now a bit of an item diff between Unforgiven and Upset. And I will say, though, you've got to say that Razork having that Black Cleaver should be significant in the later team fights. With only a Dragon apiece, we should start to see both these teams really push in towards those Dragon Souls. And Baron spawning in 5 seconds. This is where the team fights come into big questions right now. And honestly, Wunder's going to have to try and make something work on this side there, because I think he's not going to be doing that well unless he has support.
Hovering around, Hylissang there as well. Humanoid pushed that top lane all the way in. Dragon spawns in 40 seconds. Mad Lions seem to own the map right now, and after what was a bit of a kerfuffle between the 15 to 20 minute mark. That's the
official term?
I believe that's the official term, yes.
Okay. I like to learn the terminology sometimes.
Right.
Just keep myself up there.
Is that not common in Irish? A kerfuffle?
A kerfuffle? No, it's a very British term.
That is very British, that's
true. Wouldn't be part of, we call it a scrap maybe, just like a...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just like scrapping it out.
Yep. I thought of jaunt as well.
A jaunt? That's even more British.
That's super posh, yeah.
I was going to say, it's like, where are you from? Like, the
that's
posh
not really
part of
Welsh. I just know what the posh kids would say, you know?
Well, the posh kids right now are currently Mad Lions. They try to take away this dragon away from
Ooh,
Fnatic and even
wall.
isolate them from it with the Weaver's Wall.
Nice.
And they keep themselves away and keep them up in that count. But the inside track does belong to Fnatic, so if they can make something work, it's so hard with the Taliyah. This is the power of this pick. The wave clear, the control you're given this pick is just huge.
Well, this is something that the Analyst has talked about, giving Nisqy something that he's very comfortable on and is extremely strong in the meta right now. It was always going to be dangerous. Humanoid, though, wasn't like he had a bad laning phase. He did, remember, get 3 kills off the back of that little skirmish. But it's difficult. I think both mid laners have had good promise this game, both AD carries as well. Really, I think the biggest difference has come in the support impact and how Kaiser has been able to make so many fantastic plays happen on his Rakan. You know, Hylissang, he's done what he can, but you just don't have the same agency, that playmaking. Like, Hylissang is famous for his Rakan. It's something that domestically many teams have feared giving him. And to see Kaiser have that level of impact against him just goes to show the evolution and involvement that this young player has had over the years. Of course, back-to-back champions last year. We'll see if Mad Lions can climb back to the top. Remember, if they win here, they will be top of the league.
Yeah, this is definitively top of the league as well, with Rogue losing today.
Exactly. Rogue, the surprise loss earlier, they would find themselves at 9-3, and Fnatic would find themselves at 5-7.
Yes. Not only at 5-7, but if Fnatic were to lose today, that's a 5-game loss streak. That's in the regular season. The last time Fnatic were in a 5-game loss streak was spring 2014. That was 8.5 years ago.
Wow.
We're old. All right, yes. We remember it. We're old, okay? So, like, but that just shows you the dominance of this organization and how consistently good they've been to not be losing 5 games in a row.
I mean, what's crazy is, regardless of the roster iterations they've had, to not have a 5-game losing streak in that period of time is crazy.
I mean, G2 nearly had one this split.
Yeah.
Sorry, I feel like I'm flaming G2 here, but
it's common. Everyone does it.
That's just part of the crew. But Mad Lions now calling a little bit of a moment here and saying, look, Fnatic, you're not set up for this. We're going to TP in and try to take this Baron.
Look at his wall here.
Oh, it's a good wall. It does separate Razork from the rest of the pack. It's only going to be up for a few more seconds. Humanoids have the Spirit Rush just to get here on time, but Mad Lions, they don't want to go for this Baron just yet. Armut needs to try and run away as he goes golden to keep himself alive. Needs to move away from these bombs. Razork has died, and Armut stays alive. Mad Lions, they didn't get the Baron, but they did get themselves some picks.
Wow, okay, so I respect the Baron there from Mad. It looked like it was going extremely quickly, and I was convinced that they could secure it. And with the wall coming out from Nisqy, I thought they bought themselves enough time, but Fnatic was able to collapse. Fortunately, they couldn't quite convert it into anything. Armut got extremely low. That fight was on a knife's edge. Let's look back exactly how things panned out. So Razork commits to the fight. He gets in very quickly, but look at how quickly he gets separated from the pack. So Upset is able to navigate his way in as well and offer all of this extra damage. This is where Armut then puts himself in a bit of a dangerous spot as the rest of the Fnatic crew join the fray. But a great stopwatch to avoid the charm means that he buys a little bit more time, and then the rockets, along with the ultimate from Armut, is enough to secure the kill. And he's able to walk away with his life. No Baron ends up going down. A trade, well, ends up being a single kill. The important thing to note is no TPs on the side of Mad Lions right now. Let's have a look at the total gold presented by Santander. Armut and Unforgiven sit at the top.
They do very much look like the kings of the hill right now, trading top spot between themselves like a fight between last year's Verstappen and Hamilton. There's one for all you F1 fans. As we can see now, Upset not doing too badly for himself either, only a couple of hundred down, so still very relevant as we go towards this third Dragon for Mad Lions. It is only a Cloud Soul, so it won't give you the most immediate of impacts. As we can see now, Kaiser goes very far forward, isn't he, Fuck? Oh! Humanoid landed the charm off the prediction of Unforgiven, which means he's completely isolated. And now Razork cleans up the kill onto the side of Kaiser, but he's traded back. Unfortunately for Fnatic, when you lose your jungler, makes going for that Baron turn very difficult.
Armut threads the needle there and is able to land all 5 onto Razork. Ends up being a 1-for-1. Kaiser, he was looking for someone to dash back to, and Nisqy just wasn't in range. It was a really good play from Hylissang, using the bonus movement speed to create a gap between him and Kaiser. He avoids the knockup, lands the stun, applies the slow, and that means that Kaiser ends up... Oh, well, I was going to say something then. He was left up a river without a paddle.
Any particular river?
no river in particular. But he ends up losing his life and ends up being a trade. So both teams now continue to fight over this mid control. The Dragon spawns in 10 seconds.
It does spawn in 10 seconds. Unforgiven does not have summoners. Kaiser doesn't have flash. Upset. Oh, nearly gets caught out, but that's a great Everfrost there from Humanoid on Bactus. I will say, Humanoid on this Ahri has been absolutely fantastic this game. And now Fnatic starting to use that poke advantage with the Jayce. Yes, the Jayce has good early game, but in those poke wars, the Jayce is king.
He certainly is. Wow, that was... so Elyoya... He messed up his flash Q initially. He was aiming for Upset. But then the secondary engage that came through from Kaiser, I think you rightly spotted it. It was that Everfrost that actually stopped it because it looked like he found a fantastic engage. And we're going to get a look back at it. Oh, so this is the initial pick earlier, what we talked about. Kaiser goes in. Good sidestep from Hilly, lands the stun, applies the slow, which means the Kaiser then can't actually get in range. And then a really good prediction there from Humanoid, expecting the flash to come out from Unforgiven. Isn't quite able to get the kill, but will get the summoner spell out. And then Razork dives onto the backline, gets the kill, and then look at that. Needle work from Armut, enough to secure the trade back. All right, what a tense game, though. Glad we're rounding things out with a close back and forth. Fnatic, of course, they do find themselves at 5 and 6, but I think many still consider them a top team here in Europe. They just haven't quite been able to thread it into wins. And I will say a lot of their losses have been very close. They lost to Rogue last week. It was,
Razork, he wants to make this one work. He really wants to make this one happen for his team, but he was spotted on his routes, so Fnatic not able to round out the top side of Mad Lions, but they are able to clear out some of this vision. With no Dragon on the board, you can see Armut pushing on the bot side. He's going to keep pushing all day long. No one can really answer him at all right now, as they're going to have to send probably multiple members just to make sure he doesn't get himself 2 turrets. And 3 items onto your Jinx, nearly 3 items onto Upset. And Betty, we're heading towards that late game catalyst of just everyone having ultimate items, and it's going to come down to who can make what stick.
Oh my god, look at how strong Armut is right now. 4, 1, and 2. Level 15. Could you press the XP bar for me?
XP?
Yeah, it should be one of them. There you go.
Boom.
Nice. So we can see that Armut has a lot.
Almost, literally almost level 16.
Armut has a lot, and he is, in fact, very close to level 16 as well. Upset a little bit behind him, but yeah, it's... when he gets level 16, I mean, already level 13 is very strong, but now the death cap has come through, and Mad Lions will melt this Baron. This ward. Thank you, Observers, for highlighting that one. Fnatic do have information here. It hasn't been cleared out by Mad.
Okay, they know Nisqy is there trying to put down the Weavers while Razork's got himself over the side, though, so he's now in position. They have a TP coming in from Wunder. They're going to try and make this one work, but Mad get themselves the Baron. That's going to be them now trying to get out of this fight as Armut's caught a little bit behind bars. Trying to see if he can walk away from this one here. He should be able to skip and snip his way to safety. So Mad get the Baron to get nobody killed, and that's a successful heist.
And that's exactly what they wanted to do earlier. A great wall once again from Nisqy. Okay, good damage onto Humanoids.
We're just in sync there for a moment.
It's the Welsh and an Irish thing.
It is. It's just how we got there. The rugby and everything.
But yeah, he was sitting on a ward. He ends up getting spotted out. His back gets interrupted, which is mainly just obnoxious. But a really smooth Baron there. A bit of a heist secured by the Mad Lions as they utilized the Taliyah wall very effectively. Kaiser committed his ultimate to keeping the jungler out of the Baron pit. And it was basically completely uncontested. Unforgiven did have to burn his cleanse, but aside from that, Mad Lions now find themselves with the Baron. Mad now looking for an opportunity here on the bot side jungle.
I mean, they might find it upsets there, but there's got to be a 2v3 right now. Whoa!
Oh, that's a commitment.
That is a big commitment coming in. Elyoya is tanky, but is he going to be tanky enough? Goes golden as we can see a TP coming in. The damage is great from Armut, but he's not quite in a position to make it work. Mad Lions, they're going to keep pushing forward. Humanoid not quite able to flash charm. Will get stunned up though as he gets a spear rush out, and Armut's just a monster. Armut is the man, the boogeyman that you do not want to deal with, the monster under your bed. You just want to pretend isn't real because he is just so scary.
But it seems that Fnatic will actually walk away with a kill advantage there. Big commitment from Elyoya, and you can see Upset basically just guiding him into his team. He had the spell shield at the ready, and the second the Elyoya got close enough, Upset was able to just spell shield him away, and Elyoya got chunked out. So this will slow the Mad Lions pretty dramatically with this Baron buff. They've only got a minute left. You can see it at the top of your screen. And let's see what Mad can even get off the back of this. They're not going to really convert it into much for the time being. Humanoid really wants to get that level 16. I think so far, I mean, this is good for Fnatic. Buying a little bit more time, giving another opportunity to maybe find a good fight.
See what they can make work here. Mad know they've already established some vision control on this bot side, so they move in aggressively saying, look, Armut, you are our carry right now. The Jinx will still do dangerous amounts of damage, but it is going to be on Armut trying to get onto this backside now that he has the needlework back in his inventory. But looking across the board, it's 3 items basically for everybody, top, mid, jungle. Nearly almost there, and of course the AD carry is actually a 4th item here for Unforgiven, who finishes up the rapid fire cannon, so he's got that little bit of extra range, that little bit of extra safety as we come closer and closer into what we can only imagine is going to be the final fight of this game. 8 seconds till Dragon, neither team on Soul, not really a big deal. As Upset, Waver's wall is going to be down, and TP as well, and they're going to try and jump all the way on the Hylissang. Upset's kind of been left alone as he flashes back. They flash in on top of him. He gets resurrected, but it's only going to be back to the side of his death. He gets to see himself die twice as all 3 carries get killed. Mad find an opportunity, and they completely punish Fnatic.
And just like that, Fnatic get wiped off the map. Mad Lions are looking to cement themselves as the best team in the league right now as they have the Nexus in their eyes.
They got the Nexus turrets after this inhibitor, which goes down with ease like scissors through paper. They will have to go through an Ahri and a Wukong who clears out the wave. I like that from Razork. He prioritizes killing the minions, but they're not done just yet,
They are certainly not. Still 20-second death timers on Wunder and Upset. Hylissang will be respawning, but Armut is just trying to get rid of as many minions as possible. The charm comes through from Humanoid.
Here we go. Here we go. They're going to try and jump on the Kaiser, get a double bomb, actually a triple bomb, but Razork's already dead. Armut jumping in now as well. It looks like Mad Lions. This Gwen is too big, and Mad Lions up to 9-3.
An impressive performance from the Mad Lions. Not only will they cement themselves at the top of the LEC here at the beginning of week 6, but they will hand-deliver Fnatic a 5-game losing streak. The first that they have had in 8.5 years.
And it does feel like Mad Lions are just a cut above right now. It really feels like this team just know how they want to play. Any small moment that's given to them as an opportunity, that literally came off of Upset just being a little bit too far up mid lane. That was it.
Yeah, I mean, there are lots of different moments that you can highlight for each of the players. I think that Kaiser and Armut, for me, really did stand out in terms of their playmaking. Kaiser had so many great initiations. We saw Armut with, well, his Gwen, of course.
I call him the boogeyman, but he's more like John Wick. He's the guy you get to kill the boogeyman. That's how scary he was.
Yeah, and he really delivered a great game.
I like how Kaiser was like, wait, what are we doing?
Yeah. Of course, that is a reference to our cold open that we had at the beginning of the show, the rock, paper, scissors contest. There was still that final game for them to be played, and it seems that they did, in fact, deliver them with scissors. Very well played from the Mad Lions. 9-3 is their scoreline. They hold sole possession of first place right now, and while, of course, they have not locked a spot in playoffs, historically, 9 wins is what you need in order to get in. So, again, while I am not confirming that they have a spot just yet, they don't. They're
looking pretty
it's
good.
Looking very, very good.
It's looking pretty good. Well, look at our key player of the game at LEC on Twitter. It's between Armut, Nisqy, and Kaiser. The engages from Kaiser. I think the walls from Nisqy, and of course Armut on the Gwen.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
It's a tough one.
I think Armut and Kaiser, for me, really were the standouts. And as you rightly said, Nisqy had a lot of great plays too. So I really think that all three are very viable choices. And I've got to give credit to the Mad Lions. I was not expecting them coming into this split to be this dominant, but their early games look good. They've talked a lot about how they've used the LPL as inspiration for their early games, and I feel like that they've been able to emulate and execute a lot of what makes the best region in the world the best.
Yeah, well, we're going to send it over to Frankie, who's standing by with the victorious Elyoya for a winner's interview.
Thank you very much, guys. This is quite hard, speaking personally as an interviewer, because Mad Lions are just looking so flawless. They win so effortless at the moment that it's hard to know what to ask. Basically, you're the best team in the LEC. How does it feel?
Yeah, I think right now we're maybe in the best shape, but still I feel like we have so many mistakes and we still have so much to improve on that. Yeah, it feels still frustrating to be the best, but not at the highest level, you know, I feel like.
All right, then what's letting you down? What was frustrating about that match?
Sorry, can you repeat?
What was frustrating about that match?
So I had one of the cringiest moments with my Q flash and on Vi. Also my ults, I was going on a trip, but yeah, I mean.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that because we're going to play it on the big screen behind us right now. No, I'm not going to do you like that. It's okay, but I do want to ask you about that Vi pick because earlier on we saw Marang from Rogue also picking that Vi. And for me, it's not the worst pick in the world, but it's not necessarily something that's absolutely on the money meta right now. So what was the thinking there?
Yeah, I mean, I think in the jungle right now, when you can have the buy, which is direct CC to champions like Ahri and Jayce, it's pretty good. And also having CC for Taliyah and Gwen, it's optimal. I think it was the best pick, but I was not the best on it. But yeah, I think it was a good pick in this case, but it's a really niche pick.
So helping out your friend Nisqy in the mid lane for once, because obviously he's on the Taliyah. I do remember early on in the split that I think it was Nisqy who was actually telling the boys on Euphoria that you guys were going to swap who got to be the hero when you're playing on Mad, you know, because sometimes you're getting to do the glory and actually no. You're always normally the one who gets the glory. How is the balance between the two of you in-game going as to who gets to be the hero?
I mean, it's really good. We get on, like, we get along, like, we get really well between each other.
We can see that, for sure.
Like, we have a lot of jokes and, like, we're always miming. I'm miming that he's stealing my MVPs. He's, like, perma-miming that he's Yasin Dincher, the best player. So, I mean, it's really good to, when you connect so well with a player. But, yeah. The not so good part is that I have to carry him in every game, but yeah, that's part of the task, no?
So where are your muscles then?
Because
I don't know. I have a feeling.
Did you have to do me like that?
I have a feeling Nisqy might be flexing his. We can in fact ask him quite soon because he is going to be on the post-game lobby with Machine and the boys in a moment. But I am going to ask you about XL before you go. XL, they are hot on your heels. They're not looking too bad, although commiserations to them for today. But it doesn't mean they're not going to fix their mistakes before tomorrow. What are you expecting from that matchup?
I mean, even though they are looking right now a bit worse, we are, like, they did the fastest game against us, so I don't think I can be any cocky. I wish I could, but I can't be, I cannot trash talk or anything. I think they are a really solid team, and I would say they are right now top 3 in the league, and I really want to play them tomorrow. I think it's going to be a real test for us to see how good we are.
And you're number 1 in the standings. Do you feel like you deserve to be there? Or do you think Rogue, they might bring it back?
I think it's Rogue, yeah.
Interesting. Well, maybe Nisqy will elaborate. As I just mentioned, he is going to be on post-game lobby. So we're going to head to a break, and then we'll meet his best mate and see if the feeling's mutual.